Skydive U was founded to offer comprehensive instruction for those wishing to develop their skydiving skills. Continuing in this tradition, Skydive U now offers free flying as part of the curriculum. The backflying video is the first in a series of 6 videos created to teach the skydiver how to free fly in an easy-to-understand manner. Skydive U still recommends one-on-one coaching along with the video series to obtain optimum free fly results. Why backflying? Backflying is the first in the Learning to Free Fly series. While belly flying, your wind perception is well developed because a lot of your time is spent flying on your belly. Learning to backfly allows you to better develop the wind perception on your back. For all the other positions like sit, stand, and head-down flying, where the body is vertical with the wind, you need to have your proprioception well developed. This instructional DVD will teach you how to increase your air perception while flying on your back, using basic motions and turns. Backflying allows you to change the visual orientation of the skydive. Seeing the skydive from a new perspective allows you to create an increased air awareness and total body perception. Also, the freefall speeds while backflying closely match those of belly to earth. Therefore, the transitions made between the two attitudes tend to be much smoother relative to speed changes. Safety. First off, we need to discuss equipment safety. Free flying requires free-fly-friendly skydiving equipment. Free-fly-friendly skydiving equipment is designed to be worn and flown at higher speeds with increased wind exposure. The following includes items to help increase your margin of safety. Harness and container system. Riser covers. You must have good, dependable riser covers that remain closed while flying at higher speeds. Pilot chute bridle. The rig must have minimum to no exposure of the bridle. Any exposed bridle runs the risk of premature pilot chute extraction due to the increased exposure of the bridle to the relative wind. Pilot chute free fly handle. The handle should be one that sits close to the container, such as a free fly PUD. It needs to conform closely to the line of the container to minimize the possibility of premature pilot chute extraction. Main and reserve flaps. Both main and reserve flaps need to stay closed to ensure maximum pin protection to prevent premature main or reserve openings. Soft cutaway and reserve handles. We recommend the use of soft cutaway and reserve handles to minimize the chance of snagging either handle while free flying. Leg strap bungee. We recommend the leg strap bungee to help minimize the chance of your leg straps sliding down a bit while you're free flying. Associated skydiving equipment. We strongly recommend that your rig is equipped with an AAD. Hard helmets. Freefall collisions do happen, and solid head protection is a must. In addition to a visual altimeter, an audible should be used as a backup device. Properly fitted free fly suits. We recommend that you talk to your coach regarding jumpsuits. Everyone has a different body type and size. Preparation. Stretching. In free flying, there is a very wide and very dynamic range of body motions and movements. The more often you stretch and the more flexible you become, the better your performance and range of motion will be. You'll see a big difference in your performance by doing simple stretches before skydiving. Muscle memory. The best way to build muscle memory is to perform movements that are realistic and repetitious. Look at your body position. After you get used to how it looks, do it again with your eyes closed so you can feel the movement. Because your eyes are now closed, your mind will receive more sensory input from the other parts of your body than it normally would. The other parts of your body are now compensating for the removal of the visual stimuli. Dive plan. Know who you're jumping with. For your first backfly jumps, it might be wise to look for a coach. If you're already training, make sure you have someone experienced enough to jump with. It's always good to follow every skydive with a debrief. Exits. It's good to brief and rehearse the exits in a mock-up of the plane you'll be jumping from. Handle placement can vary from plane to plane, so be familiar with the aircraft you are going to be jumping from. If there's no mock-up available, then use the actual aircraft when it becomes available. The skydive. Know what you are going to do in the air based on the dirt dives that you practice. Stick to the plan. Break-off separation. Make sure this is part of your dive plan. You should always move 180 degrees away from the group center point. Canopy flight and landing. Know your flight plan prior to boarding the aircraft. Reference the wind indicators as well as other canopies, cloud drift, etc. Visualize the landing pattern before you go up. Avoid freefall collisions. Make sure all your speed adjustments are applied smoothly. Always maintain visual contact. Tip: if you find yourself above someone else or in their burble, make yourself big and move away from being directly above that person. If you're below and you see someone getting above you in your burble, make yourself smaller. Higher breakoff altitude. Due to the increased speeds that occur while free flying, we recommend a higher breakoff altitude to allow your body to slow to normal freefall speeds before deployment. Neutral backfly position. Let us begin with the neutral backfly position. Start in a very relaxed body position. Your back should be straight. Your legs should be positioned 90 degrees from your torso. Imagine sitting in a chair, then assume that position on your back. Your feet should be a little wider and higher than your knees. Your elbows should be slightly wider than shoulder width and slightly bent. Your hands above your head. The palms of your hands may be either face up or face down, whichever is most comfortable for you. Palms up. This position allows for a more overall relaxed state. Palms down. This position will cause your biceps to flex, creating a slightly less relaxed state. New free flyers sometimes fly with their palms down in order to get a better feeling of the wind. Do your best to attain the correct angles and positioning, and then let go of all tension and resistance. Breathe and relax. Troubleshooting. If you find yourself sliding in the direction of your head, it could be an indication of having your head in the forward position, chin to chest. Focus on looking upwards with your face toward the sky and maintaining that orientation. Exit 1. We recommend a belly-to-earth exit for the first few practice jumps. You should exit on your belly until the relative wind created from exiting the airplane becomes the relative wind created by free fall. Then, start your transitions from belly flying to back flying. Transitions. Belly to back, or half barrel roll, turning around the longitudinal axis of your body, head to pelvic area. Keep your hands in front of your face with your arms partially extended. Keep your knees bent and your feet apart completely through the transition. Push one arm across and underneath the other. This arm will push the airflow, causing you to rotate from your head, shoulders, hips, and legs. For example, if you want to turn in a counterclockwise direction, you would extend your left arm out and under the right, causing it to push air. Quick tip: when you finish the transition, remember to keep your feet apart and focus on the neutral stance and spinal flex. Make sure to do a quick scan of your body position. Fix your legs and look up. Back to belly. Keep your arms extended throughout the entire transition. Cross one leg over the other. Follow your hips, which will start your arch, your shoulders, and lastly, hands and arms. As you transition, you will be flexing your spine to create a more aerodynamic position. Arch. Exit 2. After you're able to maintain a good, stable, neutral back-flying position, we recommend you exit onto your back. The same exit concept applies, remembering that you need to present your back to the relative wind instead of your belly. You want to make sure you fly your body out of the airplane and not just jump out of it. Forward and backward movements. Movement towards the head and feet. Note, maintaining your feet in a symmetrical position will help ensure good heading control. Movement towards the head. While keeping your legs shoulder width apart, extend your legs. The angle created between your torso and thighs should be greater than 90 degrees, feet above the level of the knees. Twist your arms down towards your sides while maintaining a constant angle with your elbows. The bend of your elbows should be the same here as when you are in the neutral position. As a variation, extend your legs and moving your forearms only, bring your hands towards your shoulders. Movement towards the feet. The angle created between your torso and thighs should be less than 90 degrees. Bring your feet closer to your butt while maintaining the same distance between the feet and knees. Extend the arm and press down on the wind and arch with the chest. To stop a movement, you need to apply an opposite force to counteract that motion. We recommend the start, coast, stop, neutral technique. Start is the initial force exerted by your body to initiate the movement. A body in motion tends to stay in motion until other forces act upon it. Coast is allowing your body to continue its motion with no additional force acting upon it. Stop occurs by adding enough opposite force to counteract the initial movement. And neutral is the equilibrium state after your body has stopped and no more forces are exerted. Turns. In order to do center point turns, you need to visualize splitting your body into upper and lower portions. Imagine a propeller, with the center point being your center point. The upper part of your body tilts in one direction, while the lower portion tilts in the opposite direction. The air deflection from each portion must be equal for the turn to be centered. Note that in order to have a center point turn, you need equal input from both the lower and upper body. To turn, push your heels down and to the side, deflecting air while keeping your knees bent, decreasing the angle between upper and lower leg. Lean your legs toward the side, pointing both feet in the same direction and keeping your knees symmetrical on the same axis. Extend one arm to the side, pushing the air, while the other arm is hidden from the air to avoid wind resistance. This is accomplished by placing the hand close to the body. It's important to train and dirt dive to create muscle memory in separate quadrants, such as the upper body or the lower body. Later, you'll put these two together to create the turn. Remember, to stop a movement, you need to apply an opposite force to counteract that motion. Start, coast, stop, neutral. Generally, feet and hands should be pointing in the same direction. Try not to focus on each small individual movement, but instead know that the feet and hands go the same way. Up and down movements. Going up, slow fall rate, arch slightly, and increase the body surface area exposed to the wind. This is accomplished by opening the legs and arms toward the sides as you extend them. Greater symmetrical resistance across your body will cause you to go straight up. Variation for slower fall. Your arms and legs should be spread out with knees slightly bent. Your back will be completely arched. Hips should be pushed upward. Going down, fast fall rate. De-arch slightly and decrease the surface area by bringing in your arms and legs. Again, symmetrical resistance across your body will cause you to go straight down. Variation for faster free fall. Your arms should be fully extended, with the arms and legs bent less than 90 degrees from your torso. Your back should be completely de-arched. Remember, start, coast, stop, neutral also applies to up and down motions. Combination moves. Once you've mastered all individual skills, you can start combining them for more advanced performance. There will be several examples of these combinations. Up and towards the feet. Place your arms completely straight in line with your body. Above your head, arch more from your chest, increasing the angle between your torso and thighs to greater than 90 degrees. The angle between your upper and lower leg will be less than 90 degrees. down and towards the feet. Keep your torso straight and your legs completely bent. Tucked in heels to the butt and pull your knees close to the chest or belly. Up and towards the head, backtracking. Arch and keep your chest and legs straight. Keep your arms next to the body, pressing the wind with your hands. Down and towards the head. De-arch the upper part of your back and roll your shoulders inward. Keep your arms in the relaxed position and your legs straight. Side slides. To perform side slides, you'll be using the same techniques as the ones learned to perform turns. The difference is that instead of moving your legs and arms in the same direction to turn, you will now move them in opposite directions to perform side slides. Push your heels down and to the side, deflecting air while keeping your knees bent. Twist your legs, pointing both feet in the same direction. Extend one arm. This pushes the air, while the other arm is hidden from the air to avoid wind resistance. This is accomplished by placing the hand close to the body and elbows lower than your back. As with turns, it is equally important to create the muscle memory for side slides too. It can be very easy to revert back to turns from side slides, so pay close attention to dirt dives. Generally, feet and hands should be pointing in the same direction. Try not to focus on each small individual movement, but instead know that the feet and hands go the opposite way. In order to have a straight side slide, you will need equal input from both the lower and upper body. Approach. Visual reference. As you approach the base, you must maintain visual contact and reference at all times. That is a very critical moment of a skydive, as risks of collision are very high. You should always make your approach from outside the base. Do not approach the base or formation from above it or from underneath it. The red zone. As you find the level and match the fall rate, maintain a safe distance, about 3 feet horizontally from the base. Some people refer to this as the final approach zone, or the red zone. Keep in mind that this distance may vary depending on your level of experience. The less experienced you are, for safety, the greater the distance should be. Now you can make a straight-in approach. What to do if you're not in your slot? If you are below the formation, the first thing to do is get out of there. Put yourself in a safe place, outside the final approach zone. Then do your best to fall slower until you are level relative to the base. It's very important to keep visual contact at all times to make sure you're respecting the final approach zone, therefore avoiding any possibility of free-fall collision. Difficulty reaching your slot. Don't give up. Give yourself the opportunity to get into your slot by continuing to safely try until breakoff time. Fly in proximity to your group until breakoff time. Leaving before the planned breakoff altitude may cause you to fly into other groups of the same load. It also creates confusion for the other skydivers in your group because they don't know where you are. Stick to the dive plan. If you experience problems matching the fall rate on more than one skydive, consider changing your jumpsuit accordingly. One with more drag if you have too fast a fall rate, or one with less drag for too slow a fall rate, or possibly wearing weights. Visual awareness. Maintain your visual awareness, both direct and peripheral, at all times. It's your responsibility to avoid the collision. In case of freefall collision, if a collision cannot be avoided, try to protect yourself and your gear, your handles. Deflect yourself away from the other person and check to see that that person is not injured. If the person is indeed injured or incapacitated, you might consider opening his or her reserve. Grips. The most important thing when taking grips is to make sure you are flying in a totally neutral position. Any momentum or movement your body possesses will be transferred into the base or formation. This momentum will create instability, not only in your body position, but for the formation as well. So before you ever take your grip, fly to your slot beside the base or the person you're docking on. Do not make contact. Make sure your fall rate matches the fall rate of the base. Only then should you take the grip. It's important to continue to fly your body after the grip is taken. continually maintaining fall rate and proximity. The formation is alive, and now you are a part of it. It's important to breathe, relax, and keep a positive attitude towards the center. No tension should be felt while taking a grip. Break-off. Break-off is an incredibly crucial portion of your skydive. The goal is to separate from the formation and the other skydivers. Obtain as much horizontal distance from the others as possible, and find an open and safe place in which to deploy your parachute. The break-off sequence will be discussed in 2 stages. Break-off altitude. Know your assigned break-off altitude. It's an important part of the dive plan. If for whatever reason you don't know what the assigned break-off altitude is, it's your responsibility to ask someone. Talk to the people you're jumping with and agree on a safe break-off altitude that everyone on the skydive is comfortable with. You should allow about 1,500 feet, 450 meters, from break-off to deployment altitude. There are situations, based on the size or complexity of the skydive, in which different people on the same skydive will have different break-off altitudes. This is called a staged break-off. You should turn 180 degrees from the center of the formation. Make sure you stop the turn before you start tracking away. Doing so will prevent you from carrying the momentum of the turn, causing you to lose directional control. Tracking. You can always improve on your tracking skills, regardless of your experience level. Most drop zones have organized tracking dives. Use these to increase your skills. There are 3 important points to remember on a good track. There is no finite number of jumps that it takes to accomplish each one of these. It varies for each skydiver. You should work on them in the following order. Directional control, primarily accomplished by using the legs. Flat tracking. You have a flat body for a flatter track, losing less altitude. Speed. Roll your shoulders and de-arch. You become more aerodynamic. Deployment. Before you actually deploy your canopy, you must slow yourself down. Free flying occurs at much higher speeds than belly flying, so you must compensate for that when it's time to open. Slower free fall speeds at deployment will give you smoother openings and can help preserve your equipment. While you slow down on your belly, start looking around, up, down, to the sides, to make sure there is nobody around you. Clear your airspace. When your airspace is clear, give a big, visible wave, and then release your pilot chute. Safety tips. If you have the skills, it's a good idea to barrel roll during your track to look all around you, making sure to maintain direction and level, of course. During your opening, look at the horizon. It will help you with more on-heading openings, and at the same time, you can scan the sky around you to see if there's anybody there. Start practicing rear riser turns. Canopy collisions usually happen either right at opening or right at landing. Before you ever unstow your toggles, look around to see if your airspace is clear. Always be ready to avoid canopy collisions when your canopy opens. You may do this by pulling one of your rear risers to make a turn without having to waste time looking for your toggles. Remember that if the other canopy is headed straight toward you, the rule of thumb is that you should both turn to the right.